I'm Amy, sex educator, sex and relationship coach, and co-owner of PurePleasureShop.com.
And I'm April, sex toy maven, VP of Hot Octopus, and I've dedicated my life to the business of sex. We're two people with a passion for educating and inspiring shame-free conversations about sex and relationships. Welcome to the Shameless Sex Revolution.
Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com, and for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code shamelesssex at purepleasureshop.com.
You are listening to a pleasure podcast. For more from our sex podcast collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Well, hello there, daddies.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, daddy. You might not be a daddy. Remember the episode we did, though, where it's everyone is a daddy and everyone needs a daddy?
Was that with Mateo?
No, Misha.
Misha. Yes.
Yes. That's not what this episode is
because
about.
I never identified as a daddy.
You do now.
And I think that everyone can identify as a daddy.
Yeah.
And this episode is not.
This episode is not about daddies, and Misha, it's not with Misha. I think it's bodywork. This is with Dolly Josette, and she is a dear friend of ours. Everyone's a daddy, remember?
Everyone can be
a daddy
if they want to be.
I guess so. Everyone needs a daddy and a mommy.
I don't want Ever Legend to be a daddy.
I think he's kind of a daddy.
Yeah.
So this is Dolly Josette, not about daddies. It's about a relationship reboot, but I think we're calling it how to pull your sex life or relationship out of the gutter, because a lot of people find themselves in that place especially in long-term relationships. Whether you're married, it could just be like a year in, you don't even live together, and you're like, oh shit, we need help.
And the gutter, if you're in countries that call it a different thing,
what is it called?
Is that I know I was just thinking
the
that.
sewer.
I'm pretty sure in Australia they call it something else, but the gutter is that thing that the rainwater washes off on and things get stuck in on your house. Isn't that the gutter? No.
Oh yeah, it's a rain gutter.
It's a rain gutter. Yeah. But then it's like the things that you want things to flush in. And I don't know what it's called in the UK, and I'm not Googling it right now, but it's like the things that you want to drain out in your relationship that you need a new cleansing of.
Yeah, the gutter's like it's going to the bottom. It's like not the good kind of bottom. It's like everything's draining out to the nasties, and you need help. It's a help time. So Dolly has all the tips on how to help yourself in your sex life or relationship in the gutter. Okay, so when this episode comes out, I think it's May 14th. We are only a couple days later. We will be in New York first, and then Philadelphia. So May 17th, we are in New York. We will be at the Museum of Sex, also called MoSex. This is a Friday night. This is free event. This is a meet and greet with us, and it is from 7 to 9 p.m. Come and have a cocktail with us. They have a whole carnival. There's sex toys, all kinds of things. Come meet us. Come say hello. We'll have books there if you want to buy a book, if you want us to sign a book, if you want to give a consensual hug. We'll be there. Come say hi.
Can I just have an ADD squirrel moment really quick?
You looked up gutter.
So in Canada, they're called eaves troughs.
Well, that's
what I was
how
thinking
to get your relationship out of the eaves troughs.
Yes. So that's just what I wanted to say.
Thanks, squirrel.
And now we can go back to but I think it's like, no, this program is not brought to you by eaves troughs.
It's not by eaves.
At least my voice is back. That feels good.
That's fun.
And then so that is really, really soon. So if anybody is in New York, these events are free. If you're in Philly or if you're not in Philly, if you want to take the train, we're taking the train from New York to Philly. Come see us at any of these free events. MoSex is so dope, though.
So MoSex is only New York. Philly is at Hustler Hollywood. Yes. This is, again, a free event. This one is a couples workshop, so it's actually more like a workshop style. The other one's a meet and greet. Also a book signing, but it's open to singles, too. We'll teach you all about sex toys, how to have better orgasms, more orgasms. And I think it's from 6 to 8 p.m. and all the info. If you just go to our website and you go to the event section, the link is there. The first one for MoSex, you don't need tickets. Second one, buy your tickets, but they're free, so you're not really buying them. Sign
up. And you also get discounts on anything you buy that night. There's gift bags because Hot Octopus is giving folks gift bags. There's raffle prizes for people that if you stay and hang out with us.
And the best part is we're there.
And we're also there. And if that isn't the best part for you and you're like, I don't really give a shit about you two, I just want to go get better discounts on sex toys, then come to Hustler in Philly. I've never been there. It's a newer store. So I'm stoked to see the store because I've been to a lot of the Hustler stores. This one is new. It's supposed to be fabulous. One of my bestest friends is going to be there. I love her. She knows who she is. And MoSex have you ever bounced in the booby bounce house with me?
I have not, no.
Okay, we're getting a picture of
we're
us.
going to the booby bounce house.
We're going to the booby bounce house.
Yeah.
That is one of their fixed exhibitions.
Everything else changes.
Everything else changes, and they have the carnival, so that's cool. Okay, so what about other things that we're doing, Amy?
Well, okay, everyone, we have some questions for you. So, are you a father? Are you not a father? Do you not really like your father? How do you feel about Father's Day? Because if you have, I mean, basically we're talking to everyone here. On Father's Day, you need to come to our Shameless Sex Unleashed Father's Day show in Portland. This is June 16th. Whether you're a father, you don't like your father, you're not a father, whatever.
Well, the reason that we're asking everyone out there is because everybody came from a father of some sort. And whether you have a relationship with your daddy or you don't, doesn't matter.
Maybe you want to be a daddy.
Maybe you want to be a daddy. And father, it's Father's Day. It's kind of a weird day, but not really. And some people might respect their father and have a brunch, and then you can come and hang out with us afterward.
And we're gonna make it weird
with your dad if you want.
This is different from what we normally do. So we plus a special guest, we are going to do a live show. This is a performance, it's edutainment, and we're gonna show you how to be a daddy and please mommy, or how to be a good little girl and maybe please daddy. You are going to laugh, you're going to learn, maybe you'll get a little turned on.
You can also have live demos. There's going to be some comedy. There's going to be other sex educators there. Specifically, we know Dirty Lola is going to be there. She's been on Netflix. She's had a little segment on, oh God, I can't remember the name.
So many things.
She's been on so many things.
I think she's another show coming out soon.
Yeah. And then you're going to Sexy Summer Camp with her right after that. So
you never know what you're going to get with us, but you might learn the Slurpee stick shift.
You
might learn how
wrestling?
to bury your face in her. You might get to see some lube wrestling. Who knows?
What about remember when we did the titty car wash?
Yeah.
We might even do that. You don't know what you're going to get.
Have you seen Lola's titties, by the way?
Yeah, we haven't.
You haven't got consent for her.
No, we haven't. However, anything could happen. What we need from you right now is for you to sign up. You go to shamelesssex.com. You go to Connect Events, and you go to the event at Hawthorne Theater in Portland. It's on Father's Day, on Daddy's Day. So after you finish hanging out with your daddy, or if you want a daddy,
or bring your daddy.
Bring your daddy.
Yeah.
We might have our daddies there too. You never know.
You never know.
I could be a daddy that night.
I could be a daddy that night.
So it is June 16th. It is $25. Go sign up. See what you're going to get. Then we're going to be in Chicago.
And you never know what will happen with that one because, the Shameless Sex Tour Unleashed Tour continues to Chicago. This is June 30th. And guess what, y'all? We need to sell 50 more tickets. And if you love us, go buy them now.
Wait, Amy, you have to learn how to say Chicago.
Chicago.
There. Oh, good job.
I know.
How do you do
our naked landlord? Our naked landlord says Chicago.
Do you know how can you talk like a good Midwesterner?
I just did Chicago.
You did good.
That's all I got.
We're going to learn other things like
we'll learn this.
Daddy.
Yes.
Daddy.
Yes. We will be learning this after I explain to you all that the Chicago show we said is June 30th. We need to sell 50 more tickets. Please go buy them ASAP. If you already know you want to come to one of our shows, and again, we described what was going to happen in Portland, this one in Chicago will be something similar and a little different. You never know what you're going to get, but it's going to be edutainment. And please go buy those tickets right now so that you can go and hang out with us and deal with our daddy issues.
Wait, I have to say one last thing because I grew up in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. I grew up with a lot of Chicago people. If you're scared and you listen to this podcast because your wife or your husband or your partner isn't listening, come and hang out with me. I'm not scary. I know a lot of you reach out to me on Facebook. I never fucking look at Facebook. Come and see me in person. I want to hug you and give you love. I miss my high school friends. I would love to see you. I would love to hang out with you. And it's not a lot of money.
No.
And get out on a Sunday. It's June 30th. It's right before 4th of July. You're going to go party the next weekend. Come hang out with us. That's all I have to say.
We're gonna celebrate America.
My maiden name was Callaghan. If you don't know that, now it's April Callaghan. That was me.
What you just said actually is perfect for the sex question. So that's a good intro to that. Not Callaghan part, the part before that. Okay, sex question. My husband loves your show and listens to every episode. I have no problem with that, but he's constantly asking me to try various things he's heard from your show. And even if I want to try them, I tend to freeze up. It feels overwhelming, like I'm being put on the spot. And what if I can't perform up to his standards? What should I do?
Would we recommend going to the show in Chicago?
Yeah, exactly. Do you live in Chicago?
In the Midwest? Is this one of my friends that I haven't talked to
You
in
should come
20
to
years?
our show in Portland or go to a show in Chicago or all the things. So first of all, kudos to your husband listening to every episode. We love hearing that.
How many times has this happened, though?
We have heard this so many times.
So many times.
Yeah, especially
People
at
that are on
our
the retreat.
retreats. Yeah, they're like, my husband's not sent me to your shameless sex retreat, but my husband said, you go, I'll stay home with the kids, and they were all very happy about that choice. Everyone wins. So this is not unusual, but I totally get when you have like a partner who's like, oh, I heard this thing and it sounds really fun to try. We should try it, especially on like a sex podcast. But you're hearing that over and over and over again. And I'm not insulting your partner, but why that could feel like overwhelming for you. And so I think like not less is more, but pick your battles or choose your battles isn't going to be the best way to put this, because it's like you're not describing it as a battle, but if you're hearing once a week, your partner listens to Shameless Sex once a week, and every week he's coming to you and saying, oh, I heard about, anal sex, we should try it. And then next week, I heard about threesomes, we should try it. I probably would be a little overwhelmed as well. So you maybe just also like asking your partner in a loving way with a compliment or appreciation first. I love that you are wanting to learn about sex and relationships and enhance our sex life and our connection together. What I sometimes when I'm hearing this, like, once a week or so often, I'm finding myself feeling overwhelmed and kind of like freezing up. So maybe, you can share them a little bit less with me, or maybe we could do like a fun thing where you write it on a piece of paper, and then we have like a little box where you put in all the things that you put in there. And then I have freedom to kind of choose when I want to like look at them, or I don't know, some form of like, it's okay for your partner to say, this sounds exciting, I learned this new thing at Shameless Sex. And it's okay for you to say, hey, it's a lot to hear this often, and it makes me kind of like lock up. So can we have a little less of that, or find a creative way or like a easier way for me to take that info in?
Yeah, I think that's good. I would suggest, and this wasn't even intended, if you want, buy our book, Shameless Sex, and you could actually you could tab it yourself by folding the page that you're most interested in learning about, or you could put a Post-it note on it and be like, I love this. And if that's not your thing, if you don't like reading, which I feel you, sometimes it's hard to read, you could scroll through the 400 plus episodes that we have and tab them and maybe share them with your partner to be like, I really like this episode that I learned. And if you don't want anything to do with Shameless Sex and you just for some reason came across your partner's question and you were like, hey, I don't know what I want to hear and I'm freezing up because you're asking me things that I don't know what I want, then perhaps you could investigate with the hundreds of other sex podcasts that are out there. I think it's a self-discovery process. And if you're freezing up, that's okay. Maybe there's a time where you could speak to your partner that could feel more engaging when you're not stressed, or if you're like feeling like it's like in the bedroom. But I think like for me, I love if I'm like in a situation, like if you and I, Amy, were in a situation and I was feeling really uncomfortable about speaking my desires or how I felt, which happens quite frequently in my relationship with my partner specifically. But even when you and I, if we have like a heated situation, I needed to process. So I write things down either in a long text message or I'll write them down. And that could be a good way if you freeze because you don't know what to say in that moment. It could be a good way to address what your desires are. And you could even say, I don't know what my desires are. I'm willing to explore them. And I mean, a physical book is great. I always put notes. Like I buy books all the time. I love buying books. I love buying other people's books. I love our book. I go through our book and I look at like what other things that I'm taking back from it. And I'm like, this is so interesting. So you could tab it. You could post it. You could write little notes in it. You could look at Sex with Emily's book or Emily Nagoski, the Come Together book. There's so many different ways that you could address this by not just like learning about what you want to address within yourself, because that is a freeze moment.
Well, yeah. And I think that the question that being very much about like, I might even want to try the things he's suggesting, but it feels like a lot because there's so many of them. And then what if I don't perform to his standards? Sex is like, it's a fun, awkward exploration. And so, first of all, can have a no to some of the things that he is suggesting. That's totally fine. But if your thing is like, even when I say, when in my mind, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to try that. I freeze up in saying, yeah, that I actually do want to do this. And so, my guess is your biggest fear is, but what if I'm not good at it? And just know that, for most people, the first time they try something new in the sex world, it can be awkward. It can be clunky.
Silly.
I really doubt your partner is expecting you to be perfect at the thing that he's like, heard about anal and shameless sex. And then you guys have anal for the first time and it's the perfect anal ever. And if your partner, and that's something you could say to him though, I want to try this thing that I heard in shameless sex. And I'm a little worried, like, what if I don't do it right? And I'm concerned how you feel. So is it okay if we don't do it right? And he's probably going to be like, yeah, no, of course, I don't expect it to be done perfectly, because even the girls are shameless sex over here, and he's probably listening to this episode right now because he listens to all of them. No one can do it all perfectly all the time, especially the first time. So you can only do what you're open and willing to do, and say no to things you're not, and then just have an open mind and be willing to be awkward if it doesn't feel perfect and sexy.
Even the Cirque du Soleil performers, you can see them make subtle shifts. Yeah. Like, we're not robots.
No.
So if you want to get an AI performer, that's a different thing. And even that has variations.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
So it's a great question. And I think it's great because this episode is with Dolly Josette. And she has this relationship reboot retreat. So if you are feeling inspired and you want to do this with your partner, there's information about that. But I'm going to read her bio. This could be a great segue into learning more about your own partnership, and in an immersive way that you might not get the opportunity to do unless you take that plunge and go into the retreat environment. Take it. Okay. Today's guest is our very own pleasure muse, Dolly Josette. Dolly is a somatic sex educator, sexological bodyworker, and now founder of Relationship Reboot Retreat in Nashville, Tennessee. With a focus on teaching embodied intimacy, Dolly has been called a sexual midwife by helping women and couples heal shame, develop safety, and expand arousal and desire by learning the uncharted territory of somatic healing. The result? The best, most connected sex life of your life. Learn more about Dolly at pleasuremuse.com.
All right, everyone, it is interview time, and we are here with our dear, dear, dear friend, Dolly Josette. And I'm just going to say this off the bat, Dolly Josette has actually seen both of our pussies and touched them. If that doesn't make it so you want to keep listening,
It's true. It's true. That was the first time for me.
I'm blushing. Blushing.
Consensually, and we talk more about it in episode 102 called Awakening the Pussy, and it is all about vulva mapping and Dolly's work as a sexological body worker. You have probably already heard some about Dolly in the intro as we read her bio, but Dolly, we always start with the same prompt, and I know that you've been on our show before, but maybe things have changed since episode 102 because we're episode almost 400 now.
It's amazing.
So can you please tell our listeners a little bit more about how you got to where you are today in the field of sexuality?
Yeah, it's so funny because I was thinking about this. You never know why things happen. I don't wish divorce upon anybody, but I did get divorced. And one of the big things that was going on was we just had really different sexual desires, and we prioritized it differently. And it was a really hard divorce for me because I really loved the guy and he was kind, but there was something that was just missing. And fast forward, 10 years, and now I'm a sex educator. So I say that because when you get those little voices in the back of your head and something's important to you and you're trying to squash something down because it maybe isn't important to your partner. And now look what I'm doing. And now my second husband, Jason, you all know Jason.
I love Jason.
He fully supports what I'm doing. And we discovered the work of sexological bodywork because when we were trying to have a baby, things just were not working. And I got into that mode of obligatory sex to procreate. And we did this session with Ellen Heed, prostate massage. It was one of like our holistic things, learning about the bodies, getting our bodies healthier to procreate. And she says, you're a natural at this. Like, why aren't you you got to do this. Backstory, I was a TV producer. I mean, I even helped to develop Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
So, where's the map? Now I'm teaching women about mapping their own, like you said, pussies, vulvas, vaginas, mapping anuses, penises, all the kinds of stuff. So I'm a total Aquarian. I like pretty much change my career every 10 years, but my husband was really supportive of it because all this priority of sex. And then all of a sudden it was becoming not fun. Never did conceive, and that's okay because then I decided, let me go do this training and see what else there is about sex. And now my big push is really working with heterosexual couples because the divorce rate, because I want people to prioritize, marriages, sex in their marriages. And it's that one thing, especially for the more heteronormative, shall we say, that this is their partner that they get to explore this stuff with. Like, let's get it juicy. Let's bring everything, out so that we can learn and continue to grow and discover. And Jason is so supportive of that. So I feel really blessed.
Yeah, he is a really amazing human. We got the pleasure of meeting him when you all were here in Santa Cruz. We went to dinner. It was really fun. And that was when we had our vulvas mapped because you were in person and I was super nervous. And you helped me feel so comfortable and safe. And it's amazing to see you
remember
again.
What she said to us, though? We talked about this at our retreat about what you said to us about our different
talked
pussies.
about it many times. And we use a lot of what your
remind
techniques
me.
are.
Yeah.
What did I say?
I'm down. My pussy is like, I'm down to fuck. The positioning of it. I've got this outie clitoris.
Yeah.
And then Amy.
I'm remembering. I've seen a lot of pussies.
Yeah.
What you say about yours?
Yeah, and with me, you were like, these are separate sessions. Like we were like one after the other. And with me, you're like, wow, your clitoris is like in its own little world because it's like, like up here and like my labia is like it's still connected to it a little bit lower. And I have more of like the tucked under pussy, and April has more of like the front facing pussy. And then we were comparing notes after, and I was like, April's the DTF pussy, and I'm the like more mysterious.
Yes, you're the more mysterious, where more arousal's really wanting to come in. So then, boom, the curtains can open and say, "Here, this is the stage. Come on in."
And April's curtains are like, we're pretty much already in.
Yeah, why I was so sexual, so young, right? It's like my anatomy. So
humping that teddy bear.
And so this episode is more about this like sex life / relationship reboot, which I think is so important. We get this question a lot about spicing up the sex life. First, so it's a simple question. What is a relationship reboot?
A relationship reboot is when you are in the phase of there's different stages of sexuality. I like to give credit when I hear these things. Jaya, friend and colleague.
Love her.
Erotic Blueprints. I was on a master class once and she was talking about these stages of sexuality: rest, heal, curiosity, adventure, and transformation. And so I'm married now 14 years. It's my second marriage. I'm in my early 50s. And I seem to attract people, like the sweet spot is like that 45 to 65. But even more sweet is like 50 to 60 when you're empty nesters, women are going through the change and they're like, wow, things aren't working, or they're getting a divorce or something like that. So a relationship reboot, whether it's with yourself or whether it's with a partner, is taking inventory. So being in that third stage, that curious, let's take inventory. What works for us? What do we love? What else do we want to learn? Are we really being honest about, are we having orgasms? My inbox is flooded with women. I've been faking orgasms and I have a lot of pain, but I don't want to disappoint my husband. So I just let him, get in there, but then there's pain and blood. I have husbands writing me. She just doesn't want to deal with any foreplay. She doesn't want to disappoint me. So she's making her body available, but I'm now feeling like I'm a predator and I don't like this. Please help us. So there are physical things, and then there are trauma things. And then there's just that place of curiosity. What I love when I talk to you two is you all kind of live in that curious adventure place. Like that's where you're always, always seem to be jiving. And here, like, at a retreat, we're doing all kinds of things. We're looking at all stages and how to also bring in intimacy when one needs to be in the resting, because, perimenopause, that was a total bitch for me. I'm in menopause now. And how do you navigate the seasons of your life? How do you navigate childbirth? How do you navigate the fucking month of your cycle? Right? I mean, seriously, if I have any advice for women who are still bleeding, honor and understand the cycle that when you are bleeding, take a pause, like literally rest and journal and heal and connect. I know you too. You just go.
We're looking at each other because at our retreat, we just got out of, April was not supposed to start bleeding. And she woke up and she's like, I started bleeding. And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, I just started bleeding too. And then the next day, another friend was like, I started bleeding. We're like,
and all I wanted to do was rest, but I couldn't because
we were busy.
We were busy.
You were busy. You were busy. Yeah. And then you just have to push through it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there are different kinds of sex educators. I'm one who does more hands-on, and I've really evolved. I was just really, when I first talked to you all, right? Sexological bodywork. I get to map. I get to this. It's all about the mapping and the hands-on. And I was really actually attached to administering the touch, right? Because it's like, I know this. I feel really, the thing that you said that I made you feel really comfortable. It's kind of like my superpower, but it's also, I think people who are really drawn to this work, they know how to really like get a sense of what a body needs, and they're really attuned. They really know how to listen to the body. So our job is to help you listen to your body. So the different kind of sex educators, there might be women who really specialize in the womb, right? In all this thing of our menarche, of all of these things. And there can be a sex educator. I happen to know, enough, about it to bring this into my sessions with my clients. But when women in your age are going through their cycle, and then you're faced with, I have to run a seminar. I have to kind of hijack what my body normally wants to do. Consider, April and Amy, if they're like, I'm in this place, and we need to maybe see about having a day of honoring what our body needs. Mm-hmm. And teaching the women around, because usually we don't. We hijack. I mean, I worked in New York as a TV producer. You just go all the time. It's never stop, right? And so to learn those cycles and then to honor them and to see how you can find some embodied practice or some quietness or stillness, or the vulva hug meditation. Mm-hmm. Amy, I love you with the whole, when we would do the vulva cupping, she's like, that's like you're hugging my vulva. Fast forward, Dolly's vulva hug meditation. So you helped inspire that name. I love that.
I'm giving that to Midori though, and that's not mine. Midori, thank you for that teaching. And the vulva hug has changed my life, but and I think most vulvas need some sort of slowness with the external body, and then even when you're touching the vulva, a slowness before you start to be like jab, jab, wiggle, wiggle, whatever.
Yes.
And maybe me more so than April with the DTF. But I have a question, because I want to come to this idea of the reboot, though.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm curious as to, so you were saying, for a lot of folks that you're working with the 40, I think so 45 to 65, but also I think you probably have worked with couples that are 25, 30, yes. 35. So why do you think are the main reasons why women and or couples find themselves in a place where they need a reboot? Like, how do they even go into that place where they're like, oh shit, I need support on this, or I need to start making some changes within me?
What usually starts to show up for people is mismatched libido, right? So I was describing my first marriage. So if I had discovered something like this, could we have saved our marriage? There were other things involved as well, but that was one of the big things. Could I have rebooted? Could we have figured out each other's sexual styles, each other's erotic blueprints, right? And so what shows up usually is somebody's prioritizing it and the other person is ignoring it, or pain shows up, or somebody says, I really want to learn to orgasm. I want to be penetrated. I want to feel as good as I do when I masturbate with a toy. Or they just really start to feel they're no longer connected. Okay. So connection goes away, or they're just going through the motions of sex. And so where I approach things is through embodiment, where I'd say like embodied intimacy is the cure to sexual connection. It's like the tonic. So I get these emails, I'm an empty nester, or I'm in my late 20s, just married, and I want to prevent all these things I hear about, like from my parents or from, older friends, or they have trauma that they want to heal. So there are definitely younger people who also come in, and I say that they're the smart ones because they're learning the roadmaps ahead of time. People who do come and wait until they're in their 40s and 50s, they're at the point, especially women, where they're going through the change. And when estrogen drops, the truth serum comes out, and you're just like, yeah, this isn't working for me. I've been pretending for a long time, and I want to actually feel something more.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Hormones are a beast of all beasts, I think. Right.
And they're truth tellers, they're really truth tellers. And so that's why, like, honoring the cycles, if I were to tell my younger self, like looking at the time right before you bleed, when you are at that edge, it always cracks me up when my husband would say, "Are you about to get your period?" I'd say, "Don't fucking tell me I'm about to get my period, right? Can you relate?" Like, don't fucking tell me. And then what happens the next day? You get your fucking period.
And then you're like,
oh, you're right. Then it's like, I'm like a new born again person. I'm like the sweetest pie.
Yeah. Yeah. So that time when you're on that edge, like, journal the heck, like, get some stuff out, like, really, like, this is like when you're like not sugarcoating things. Okay. Also, it's a way for women to immediately start having agency. You start knowing your cycle. You start knowing when you're going to turn into like the beast. It's like, hey, family, hey, kids, hey, friends. It's going to happen. I'm just letting everybody know, beauty has stepped back and beast is moving forward, because then there's a lot of agency over that,
Mm-hmm.
and then, and then you can also create your schedule so that you can have a little bit more rest. And rest is going to look different for everybody, the A types of this. But this is why in the old days, right, there was the red tent. You've heard of the red tent, where the women go together. And when you are bleeding, that's when you're connected with your higher self. And that's when, like, the crones are there, like, metaphorically. Mm-hmm. But it's this, you're actually at your most wise. So if you listen to the body. So that's a whole direction of sex education. And I only say that, and I share this because we have to learn to listen to what our needs are. So when you're ready for a reboot, what is showing up for you that you want to get curious about? What do you want to learn? What do you want to heal? And so coming up with this, like, kind of immersion experience. Of course, I still work with people on Zooms. I still have online things. But when you get that quietness, or you're, the women are kind of evaluating, and the men too, they're evaluating what's working, what's not working. But sometimes I think in this area, women are the real leaders. Men want to please us. They will do whatever because they want us to be happy. So if women are saying, I really want to learn more about my body. I've been getting, and I don't know if it's just because I'm here in Tennessee now, but a lot of purity culture folks, where they're just like, religion has really robbed me of any sexual expression and freedom. It's really done a number on me. But I love my husband and I want to have like great self-expression. So can you help us?
Mm-hmm. The answer is yes. You can be helped. You can absolutely be helped. And so what's, do you have something you want to add to that?
I was just the part about you, because we're talking about like cycles, but also when you're saying, maybe I can if I know I'm about to bleed in a couple of days, so I can give my partner like, hey partner, just so you know, like, a little bit of batshit Amy's coming up. But also if I'm just stressed out, or like, having a really crazy work week, and I'm not saying this is an excuse to be an asshole to your partner, but hey, partner or children, I'm having a really hard week or day, or I'm predicting that this week or day is going to be really hard. And so I might be a little on edge. Can you work with me on that, or just have some awareness? So I think it can also happen outside of cycles, because I don't know who can't relate to having days, times. I mean, like April right now, she has a stressful week ahead of her, and she
Mhm.
knows that. And so I'm going to do my best to take care of April even bigger and better because I love her so much.
That's beautiful. I love
Aw.
you too.
So-
That's beautiful. Yes, but what you're speaking to, Amy, is just being aware, having the what I call somatic awareness and attunement. Like this is showing up for me, my anxiety or my plate is so full, and you are communicating, right? One of the things I love about you, Amy, is what a great communicator you are. You're
I am
very
till I'm
crystal
not.
clear. Well, maybe those few days.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. And so you're talking about communication, and everybody's just like, nope, I just got to go through. I just got to get this done. I got to get done. And then you don't have control over because then the emotions just totally hijack.
Yeah. I think this.
Hey, y'all. So I guested on the Feeling Lighter podcast with Dr. Lisa and Katie, and I wanted to share more about their WeShape offering because I absolutely love what they are doing.
I listened. I wasn't there, but I loved it too. And we get so many emails from people who are wanting to learn to love their bodies. And WeShape is the perfect solution for them. It's all about feeling comfortable in your body while letting go of the societal BS, that's bullshit, about how you should change it.
Heck yes, girl. And we would explain more to you, but instead, we're going to let Katie, one of the founders, do it in a more succinct way. So here you go.
Hi, I'm Katie, the co-founder at WeShape. We are a fitness app taking a radically different approach and paving a new path in the fitness industry. Our primary goal is to focus on people's physical and mental well-being. So we've created a product with workouts that are rooted in quality movement and connection with the body. We have a technology that has real-time customization that can meet you exactly where you are. We also believe that all movement counts, which is why we also offer stretching routines that take as little as 10 minutes. And as a means of addressing our mental well-being, WeShape offers daily community calls with various coaches that create a safe and judgment-free space with the primary goal of acknowledging that everyone has the right to accept and love their body just as it is, and that we don't need to meet societal standards to feel valued. So if you're ready to shift how you feel in your body and about your body, WeShape is here for you. Check us out at WeShape.com/shameless for 35% off today.
Calling all couples who are feeling like your relationship, especially the sexual connection, has lost its spark, is just so, or maybe you're feeling stuck or in a rut. Wah, wah, wah. Well, first off, you are completely normal and not alone. This is super common in long-term relationships. Second, there's hope. Maybe you've thought about seeking out support from a coach or therapist, but for whatever reason, aren't feeling ready to take that leap. Never fear, Shameless Sex is here. The book, I mean. While our latest book, Shameless Sex, Choose Your Own Pleasure Path to Unlock the Sex Life You've Been Waiting For, is for everyone, it's specifically geared towards couples who are looking to go from so-so to great in the bedroom and beyond. Written in a playful and fun choose-your-own-adventure style, we give you a simple framework with customized solutions to give you the right tools for the sex and relationships you desire, meaning you just might find your way to sexy pleasure and connection town without the time and cost of hiring a therapist for under $30. Plus, buying the book supports us and shows us you love us, so that's a bonus too. Testimonials are coming in left and right as to how this book helped people just like you create or recreate the sex life of their dreams. And you can too. Grab your hardcover copy or audio version now at shamelesssex.com.
Here's a great segue into talking about prevention of a reboot, because I know there's certain measures. For instance, if you do feel like you have an imbalance in hormones as a woman or as a human, you could get your hormones checked at different cycles to sort of find a balance. But I'm wondering if you have any other that's what I would suggest. Maybe you don't think that, but are there any preventative measures that all sorts of people can do to take advantage of, not really, but to take avoidance of entering the we need a reboot phase? And I apologize because my voice is so raspy and going out. So hopefully you could understand the question. Plus, I took a Mucinex, so I think my brain's a little Mucinexy.
And just I want to add that to her, what April's asking too, because I think a lot of people will resonate with the couples reboot where like we're mismatched, we're not connected. That like it could be also with what we're talking about, like just like as a woman or as an individual, but the way that partners can do some preventative measures to not get into this like, oh fuck, we need a reboot now.
Right. Then I think looking at your own, like, how are you showing up? Because one of the challenges of working with couples is you're working with two individuals trying to have this bridge to partnership, right? So each individual has their own set of desires and issues. And then we're bringing like childhood stuff, attachment, all of this. And then we're trying to like build a bridge of connection. But sometimes people do not have what actually motivates them, and they are not clear about their desires, or they don't know about anatomy and all of these things. And so I say, then do your solo work, do solo work, listen to podcasts like yours, just getting comfortable hearing about all kinds of things sexual, reading the books, listening to the podcasts. My former assistant, Alyssa Lubacek, but she goes by Lube. It's so funny. She was on the Netflix Circle show, and she just did a TED talk. Like she's like hitting like 18 to 30-year-olds. Like she has her own podcast now. She was my assistant, and it opened her whole world about like, oh my God, I want to be a sex educator. So she's doing like a sex counseling class through ASECT, something like that. There's different ways of being a sex educator. Okay. Not everybody has to come to a place, but you can read things. You can do it yourself stuff. You can take, time for prioritizing that you're going to get away as a couple. You're going to also have some solo time away, like how to nourish the body. My thing is about how, if I were to say the top things that I really want people to eat, if whether they come see me or they do, is how can you own your body, own your confidence, and own your sexuality. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then the path to owning your body is healing whatever needs to be healed. What keeps surfacing, what keeps showing up for you. Getting brutally honest about, if you're faking things. If you're not liking sex, is there an emotional reason why you're not liking it? Is it a biophysical thing? Is it something that doesn't belong to you? So working with those types of people who can help you with any healing or trauma. And then how do you want your body to feel, right, on its own, in solitude, in partnership? So just kind of creating those goals for yourself, because then it can just get you on a whole, this isn't just like something you go and do. This is like a practice of life. This is like the ritual of life. I mean, the three of us, are educators in this work. We know the juiciness that can be experienced, the connection, the deep level of transformation and fun and love and everything else. And it can look different. It doesn't always have to be soft and fuzzy. It can also look like intense and hot and sexy and leather and whatever is your thing. But we just know it's like this adult playground with consent, that feels really good for us to have self-expression. Mm-hmm. And so if people just focus and start to listen to what their bodies need to heal it, and then start to develop some confidence around that, because you start to developing some mastery, and again, like listening to your body, like you were talking about when you're going to have a tough week, anxiety and sickness and all this there. Can I get some extra support? Communicating what your needs are.
I just tried to do that last night. It was nearly impossible. I was like, I just need support. My partner's like, I don't understand. You're yelling at me. I was like, I don't know how to communicate. So
you can't yell. You had no voice.
I mean, I was just like kind of feeling like in my childhood space is just all of the things, just being exhausted. And sometimes it's hard to communicate those things.
It is.
I don't know if you have any suggestions, if you're having like a hard time communicating. I feel like I'm a great communicator, except when I'm tired, at my lowest self, feeling sick, then I want the help, but I can't find a way to ask for it.
And you had already, it was because we had just got back from the retreat last night. Mm-hmm. You had already been gone for a week. You hadn't been, physically and in-person connection with your partner, and then coming home in this place where you're feeling like you need some extra care, and you're trying to convey that. And then he might be feeling, I don't know, like where have you, I know where you've been, but where have you been? I feel disconnected too. I need things too. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know if that's what he's saying.
I need a mini reboot though. I feel like a mini reboot.
Sounds like you guys both did, but like
Yeah.
you really needed a reboot.
Yeah.
What do you do then, Dolly? What do you do?
Help.
That's when we look, and you know this, Amy, from when we studied somatic together. That's when, like, before you get in a crisis situation, knowing like your attachment styles, right? Knowing if, what your needs are. If you're a little bit more anxious, you need that more solo time. You want to go to your cave. You feel really confident. So I haven't worked with you on attachment styles, but in this case, there can be that thing. And I know there's something that you do love. I remember reading in the book about like that thing about you getting small is kind of a thing for you.
My thing.
Wait,
oh,
I thought it was
like feeling small.
Yeah. Wasn't that something also for you, April, with BDSM or something?
Well,
we're both pretty subby. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm subby. I like to feel important and like
special.
And yes, and special. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So the biggest thing is, how can you pause? Something's happening. You're saying, oh, and you're feeling like you're having your like little tantrum moment. You're feeling like your little child. And he's like, well, I have needs. And yeah, he hasn't seen you. He might want you. He might this. So how can everybody just have a pause, not react, and say, I'm just getting home and I want to hear and catch up with all of your needs. I feel such a level of exhaustion. Could I just curl up in your lap right now? Could I just be held by you so that I can just kind of feel you without having to have a lot of conversation? I just want to feel your spirit. And then I'll just see if it kind of recharges me. Sometimes that touch and that softness, but making the request from a place of not, intensity, but just like, my body can't handle this. So I'm going to just be a little quiet and I'm going to just feel into what I need. Oh my God, I would love it to crawl into your lap. Mm-hmm. Could I just do that? And could we just be there for 5 minutes and then see what we need after that?
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Totally.
Yeah. Because when we're vulnerable, we can either just lash out and cry and get upset. And then I just came home and this, and then you're in another room and, we don't know, but we just have to. That's the knowing your body and then starting to have confidence for how your body's reacting. And so like in a retreat situation, we're practicing this when things are not, in crisis. And so they're getting practice with it. So when crisis does show up, then we can interact with it. But for you, listening to the body and touch, that is the thing that we as mammals especially sometimes just need, that nourishing touch. The nourishing touch to feel seen, to feel safe. He would have probably benefited just as well from quiet hugging and holding. Yeah. He's really probably missing you and like, wow, she just did all of these things. I don't know about it. And now I'm feeling like she's having demands on me. Like, what the fuck? Like, what about my needs? So everybody's like, what about me? What about me? Like, let's just see if we can bridge some connection. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
that's great advice.
Even with hugs, you hug somebody for 10 seconds, oxytocin starts washing out. I know you with Perito, or I don't know what dog you have these days, but the hugs.
Perito and Legend, we got them both. Yeah.
I used to have them both. Now I have all my dogs now here in Tennessee, so I totally get it now. But finding those things that can just calm and nourish our bodies, then you're like, oh, there I am. Because in those moments of crisis, you kind of forget who you are. Your limbic nervous system has just taken over. And you're just like trying to fight for survival. And can somebody hear me? Can somebody like help me? I need help. Like, so you need a life. What are those life rafts termed to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Preserver, whatever.
Life preserver.
Yeah. So sometimes it can just be like, the life preservers, I just need to crawl into your lap and just have you feel you, just hold, just some stillness.
Yeah, and even if it's just like even if it's like 10 minutes, and then maybe like if in April's case, and then maybe once I feel a little more grounded, and then like I could we can see what I can maybe share with you. Yeah,
exactly. Then it feels reciprocal. Then it feels like you can sit there and you can just hold. You can straddle him around and hold him that way, and just like really feel, as opposed to the small curled up ball like a kitten, you could like grab your legs around and hold, and maybe just being there. Then if I know April, that's going to start to lead to something else.
Yeah,
most likely. Exactly.
But then you just start rocking and undulating. You're like, oh, wait a minute. I know what we need. But you have a healthy sexual relationship. So that can lead there. But for those who aren't there yet, they're not feeling seen. I did a session with a couple the other day, and he says, gosh, I haven't been told anything that she likes about me, I think since before the kids were born. That's 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And he feels like so not seen, right? So moms get babies and all these responsibilities happen. And the dad's often like, what about, like, they get forgotten about. And he says, she's even treating the dog better than me. So it's like, how can you model, like, how important, whoever is at home, whenever one of you walks in, stop what you're doing, get up. The most important guest just came in, and you tell the kids, the dogs, nope, I'm going to go give mom a hug right now. Nope, I'm going to go give dad. Oh, mom's home. Let's go see how we can help her. We have to model valuing connection, valuing the hugs, and not get into those routines of like, you're in the other room, somebody comes up, yeah, I'm over here, yeah, okay, yeah, do your thing. And then like maybe you see them an hour later. So what do we like when we get to go visit a friend? We love it when you're like, oh, what can I give you, friend? You want something to drink? Like, you feel like you're being welcomed. So we have to look at in our relationships, whether married or not, are we treating the other person like, like you're happy to see them? You want some connection before we start listing out these things of, what you didn't do and what you forgot. And we get into those habits that are just negative.
Yeah. I can tell April's taking it in right now. Time for a quick break to talk about one of our sponsors who just so happens to be our absolute favorite lube, Uberlube. Uberlube is a luxurious silicone lubricant, and it enhances intimacy. It's there when you want it, and it blends in when you're done with it, so you have control over that lube. It's long lasting and leaves the skin extra velvety, and honestly, y'all, I want it all over my body. Thousands of doctors in the U.S. are recommending Uberlube to their patients. It's body friendly, less likely to change the pH, and it has vitamin E, so it feels extra moisturizing.
There's a reason why we've been a fan of Uberlube for years. There's no flavor or scent. It's even great for oral sex, everyone. But it's not just great for sex. You can use it for massage, your hair. You can prevent chafing. It even brings out the colors of your beautiful tattoos. And the bottle is absolutely gorgeous. It looks more like a cosmetic, so you can leave it anywhere shamelessly for easy access. Just go to uberlube.com and use the discount code shameless10 to get 10% off and free shipping. Again, that's uberlube.com right now with code shameless10 for 10% off and free shipping. This podcast is also brought to you by OMGS.com. Join over 1 million people who are experiencing more pleasure with OMGS. They take scientific research of thousands of vulva owners, showing techniques to pleasure that pussy. They turn this research into tasteful, educational short videos, animated modules, and infographics. OMGS is for anyone who wants to learn about vulva pleasure or take it to the next level. Want to take your orgasms from good to out of this world? Then check out OMGS. Or if you're a vulva lover and want to up your pussy pleasuring skills, then you need to check out OMGS.
I've personally been recommending OMGS to my clients for years, and it's completely changed their lives. They have 3 seasons: external pleasure, internal pleasure, and sex toys. It's not a subscription service, and you don't need to download a thing. OMGS also makes a fabulous gift, and your purchase supports more pleasure research. So just go to omgs.com/shameless to get 10% off right now. Again, that's omgs.com/shameless to receive 10% off unlimited access towards enhancing your pleasure power. The link is in the episode's description. We know you have a whole, I don't know if program's the right word, a whole approach. And you do, because you were in LA and now you're in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so it's the Relationship Reboot Retreat in Nashville.
I'm even thinking of getting rid of the word reboot, because I think it might even conjure up like something's wrong. Like if somebody just needs a relationship retreat, you just need time for yourselves. You just need to get away and you want to learn some stuff. So I couldn't figure out how I was going to do this work, because we owned our business building in LA. I had seminars. I hosted trainings for sexological bodywork. I've had other educators there. You all never got to come to that building. I was sad for that.
I know.
I know. But we we moved here and I just moved, I would go back and forth to LA to see clients, and we sold that building last year. I thought, what am I going to do? Like, we live out in the country, like how, but Nashville is such a destination for people, like, really wanting to just come enjoy themselves for a long weekend. And my husband came up with a brilliant idea. He says, let's rent a sexy high-rise apartment that can be your office. We can use it when we go downtown to hear music. We don't have to come back to the country, but then like your clients can stay there. I'm like, oh my gosh, brilliance. So that's what I did. So one of the things I love, I'm such a caretaker. Acts of service is my thing. I set up the space beautifully. I have all kinds of props and things, the massage table, you get like little goodies of food, you get a gift bag. And so pick you up from the airport, you stay in this gorgeous apartment. And usually, typically people come for 3 days. I'm now trying to encourage the 4th day. They come in like on a Thursday. We work together Friday and Saturday. So I don't stay in the space with you. This is for you. Women will come by themselves or with a girlfriend, maybe if I'm working with them a little separately. And then there's some sessions that can overlap. And if somebody needs a solo session, then the other person goes to the gym or we schedule a massage outside of the space. And we work like 10 to 7 with a 90-minute meal break. And then I leave. And then you get to still use the space. Massage table props, all my like fun goodies.
Ooh.
All my,
If you're not watching on YouTube, she has some fun props.
Oh yeah. This one scares people, but when you feel it on your back for the first time.
It's like a glove with nails attached to it.
You're like
If anybody
like
doesn't
bear
have a video on.
So one of the things, we'll all erotic blueprint, like the Jaya, the kinky, the sexual, sensual, energetic. And she has this test online. It's free. It's amazing roadmap. But I use props so that we can ascertain, like, what are you feeling in your body? And so it's like a huge breakthrough for people. So then when I leave, they get to like have access to these props. And then I teach them how to come up with their own little, boxes at home that they can do what we call sensation vacation. So then the massage table, I think, is one of my best sex toys around because it allows people to like actually receive, So yeah, we have the props and we have all these fun things to help understand people's sexual styles. But then we get to do the vulva mapping or the prostate discovery. And then once we build this foundation of embodiment, so you're asking kind of the program. The program is like this basis of embodiment. So I begin with Zooms before you arrive to Nashville. So we're doing like either 3 solo Zooms, or if you're in a partnership, at least 1 as a couple and then 2 solos. So I'm understanding what their wishes are, what their wants are, where things are stopping, and how to get them with their goals. And then they come here and then we have this immersion. So lots of intimacy exercises, lots of fun things we did in somatica, Amy, things from will of consent, all of these different trainings that I have just kind of get melded in. But most important is we have to deal with what shows up in the space. And what I mean with that is one client once, she wasn't sure of her attraction and or her desire with her husband. And she was like, what's happening? Am I preferring a female touch? Like, what's happening? And so we did all of this blueprinting, and I would like do an energetic touch. And then we'd bring in her husband's hands, and her body would respond, always responding to the husband. And I was like, sister, your body is really craving your husband. What is the block? So we had the second day all set up for like vulva-vaginal mapping, and then this other massage I do called tumescence, where we're looking at, and the partner helps me. So they're getting a 4-handed massage with looking at erogenous zones all over the body, and genitals are last. But it's like really like getting all of this dopamine and nitric oxide and oxytocin all in your body. But when I got here that morning, I could tell he'd slept in the living room. I was like, oh shit, what happened? So there was a to-do. And I try to like do this grounding meditation and healing and let's let it go and love bubble. And what do you want in the bubble? What do you want out of all these things? She was stuck. And let me tell you, then I said, I think we need some time alone. We ended up having to do a childhood regression. And what was stuck for her, nothing in her vagina or her vulva, her heart was so closed off. And we had to do this. We were probably together for 3 hours and then, and really just pulling out all of this stuff. And she realized, oh my God, I'm treating him the way my mother was treating me. Nothing's good enough. Nothing's this. And so she just was like this ice over her heart. So we just melted it. And I'm holding her and comforting her and being the mother and being the sister and just really loving her. And then I said, let me, you stay here. Let me get us some snacks. We brought her back to, had her husband, order from this restaurant, go pick it up. Like we just needed to care for her and love on her. And so we don't know, we have all these plans for sexy this and, penis massage and mapping and tumescence, erotic massage. And then sometimes real shit shows up. And then after that, we were like all exhausted from it. So we took the evening off and I ended up working with them another full day because we needed to. But she showed up. She's like, hi, I'm ready. What are we going to do? And he was just so thankful. And these are people, they're more nervous. I tend to attract people who are kind of more newbies in this, like the way the people you all roll with, they're like, they know all of these terms, all this. I tend to attract newbies and they had an amazing healing experience, but like I had to do something that wasn't planned.
Yeah. Well, this sounds all so great and innovative and different than a lot of other retreats. So I'm sure there's going to be folks out there that are still newbies that are listening or that they really feel connected to these messages and the story that you just told. I know I did. So are there ways that folks obviously can work with you, find the retreat, access the healing that you can provide them? Yeah. Give us all the ways to reach you.
Yeah. Well, my handle, I'm pleasuremuse.com. All right. So that's my original business is pleasuremuse.com, which is intimacy coaching, Zoom. I do Zoom. I have to tell you, COVID really taught me how to interact with people on Zoom. I had no idea. I mean, I vulva map people. I don't even need to see their genitals. I just need to watch their faces and their expressions. And it's it's a different skill set because they are administering their touch. They are having immediate agency. But if a trauma or something shows up, I'm like, what's that? You stop breathing. They're like, oh yeah, there it is. Like they're like, and there's, do we want to stay with it? Do we want to move beyond it? You all know when we mapped, but I was so attached, like I said a little earlier, to that I had to do the touch. But no, the COVID has really shown me. I sometimes work with couples where they'll get a massage table and I'm guiding him to map her from remotely, or I'm guiding in all sorts of things in the embodied masturbation practices, things like that. So it's this idea of developing a sense of embodiment and what does your body need so that like I'm in that rest place. If I'm in a rest place because of some illness, how can I still bring intimacy into my rest? I'm in a healing phase. I'm healing trauma. What does that look like? This one couple, truly probably one of my favorite couples, I worked with her for a couple of years with some trauma that she was sharing for the first time to her husband of having been married over 30 years. And she hadn't shared a trauma that happened to her, but she'd been working with her therapist and with me to talk about this because she was enjoying sex, but there was still something in the way. So this is like, what is in the way? Folks, like ladies, men, like what do we need to get under and extrapolate? So we worked together and then he started working with me on Zoom. We had great progress. And then I started offering this, like, can we be your first couple? Like, let's go out there. So when they came out here, amazing healing session, things that I can't, like a first for me to witness after we did that beautiful tumescence massage and everything. And I whispered in her, I was like, okay, we're going to give your body back to you. I just want you to integrate. She started like pulling at her chest, like pulling out and then like moving. And this is somebody who's very shy, like keep the lights out. I don't want my body to be seen. And her breasts, and she's pulling. And then she starts to hold like this, like something's over her. And she's holding it for a long time. And we're just here holding space, letting her process. My integrative music is on. And then she like lets it go. And then she sits up and she's like, okay, what's next? And usually people after this are like, it's like, what was that? She said, well, whenever we've done any of the trauma work, you always tell me, like, does that spot, do you want to be with it, engage with it? What does it need? And usually we just hold it and we just give it attention and then it winds away. So after we did all of this, it's like I felt this energy was just around me and I didn't know what to do with it. So I just held it. And then it kind of was done and I let it go. And I was like, we just witnessed something like miraculous. And then they came back the next time and she's like, we want to come back again because we did all this healing now. And then we discovered that she's a kinky sexual style. I want to learn about kinky stuff. I want to learn about submission and domination, like all of these like really fun things. But again, I'm learning new things every time I work with people because I'm seeing new things. But granted, we had 2 years of Zoom work, trust, like all the stuff we were healing. And it's really fun because I love these people. Like they become part of my life, you know? So they don't have to be really big things. It can also be that you're playing in that field of curiosity and adventure. So in my retreats, I think I probably, in those stages, I'm probably in the healing, curious, and adventure stage. Yeah. So that people can kind of like, if something needs to heal and it exposes itself, then I can be there to be the solve. Most important, I want to teach you how to be your own, nourishment, your own self. I want to teach your partner how to like listen to your body so that if something takes you over, right? You're having, if we had done some work maybe with April, you and your partner, he'd be like, you're feeling really like maybe you need something. You couldn't express it. I get it. Right now, I'm going to pause and I'm going to just say, April, come here. Let me just hold you. Let's just talk in 5 minutes or figure it out. But right now, let's just be still, right? It's like we want him. That's where we want that masculine sometimes to be like the oak tree, like to be steady, where we're like all over the place, Yeah. So there can be just so many beautiful things that show up here. And then it can just be really fun exploration of the body and anatomy and a woman reclaiming her body. I've had women like what's below my waist is for my husband.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And like, as I say that, I'm not saying, ooh, like judging some people, because I know that has been a thing for centuries upon centuries upon centuries.
Correct.
And it still is a thing. And, hence why we have shameless sex and why you're doing the work that you're doing is to teach people or inspire people that your body is your body first and foremost. And yes, we share bodies with other people if we want to. And sometimes, maybe I'm a sub and I'm like doing things for my dom or whatever, but it's still my body. And I'm still living by what works for me. And our time is running short, but I just want to really say, and I know April agrees, we just absolutely love you as a human. And we absolutely love and appreciate and adore you in the work that you do. And we've experienced it on our own. Also, I was in a training with you. And so I got to, and we in our home group was the same home group. So I really got to get to know you in that space. And I'm so elated that you're still working with people, in person and Zoom, but you've expanded it to this very intimate retreat space style that is unique and different. And I believe that you said, and at pleasuremuse.com, the best place to find anything in terms of working with Dolly, going to your retreats, booking private sessions. So everyone, please, 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 if you're interested, go and check that out. Are you on social media too? Can they stalk you on social media?
Yeah. Pleasure Muse is my handle.
Okay,
and
cool.
on Instagram, that's
Okay.
where I am. And and then I have my online courses, Pleasure RX, video rituals, and then do-it-yourself vulva vaginal mapping called Touch, Feel, Connect.
Yes. Oh, yes. I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll have all those links too.
All the
Yeah.
links.
Awesome. And it's exciting because we're in a time, and because you have big voices, you too, and you're sex experts of the year, like you're leaders in this work, and there are different kinds of sex educators. And so we want people to I want them to go to your retreat, and then maybe they're needing something more intimate here. With my retreats, they're not this is the time of year. It's we schedule it when you can come. So I'm probably doing 2 to 3 a month. And then I reserve the other time for some local clients who come in to work with me.
So it's very personalized. And if anyone's listening and you're ready for that personalized work, whether it's for you or for you and a partner, please go check out pleasuremuse.com. Again, everything in the show notes, and listen to episode 102 with Dolly if you want to hear more about vulva mapping.
She's in our book too.
And she's in our book as well.
Oh,
and we just love you, Dolly. And then to our listeners, I'm going to say this for April because her voice, she lost it at our retreat. And we just want to let you all know that we love you all so very much. If you love us and you haven't done so already, please review us wherever you're listening, iTunes, Spotify, all the things. We already said this in the intro probably, but we have events coming up. So you might be coming to a city near you. Please go and buy tickets and come hang out with us. Go to shamelesssex.com to learn more specifically in the event section. And April is in her ASMR voice is going to say what she always says at the end, which is, all right, everyone, ciao for now. Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code shamelesssex at purepleasureshop.com.